I felt very focused. I felt very focused. I felt very present. I've been feeling that way for a while now, even leading up to this water fast. I've been feeling very focused, very present, very clear about what I need to do, what I want to do, what my purpose is, what I'm passionate about, what matters most to me, what I value. And that has been a great feeling. And I noticed that yesterday, the third day of this cleanse, where I didn't feel hungry anymore. I wasn't focused on the hunger. I was focused on what I want to do and what I need to do and what matters most to me and what I value. And it's been great to feel that sense, to feel my attention focused inward instead of getting distracted by external things and focusing my attention externally. So it was really nice to have that kind of clarity and to feel good, to feel good. So I did notice though, trigger came up real big yesterday. I received a message from someone, and this is someone I have a long history with, long relationship with, and it's been a very challenging relationship in many ways. And I received this message from them and I was triggered as fuck. The visceral reaction, it was a visceral reaction. It wasn't just in my mind like, oh, this bothers me. Oh, I'm upset by this. It was a visceral reaction first, which to me is an indication that that is something that has been programmed into my body, that my cells have been holding on to for a very long time, that fear, shame, guilt that came up from receiving that message. And that was something that was stirred up to the surface that needed to be released. And so when I first got the message, that visceral response happened, that physical response happened, I was triggered as fuck. And I was angry and I was furious and I was seething. I was so bothered. But rather than reacting and sending a response back right away to them based on my physical reaction, I waited. And instead of reacting, I responded. So I just responded by saying thank you and left it at that. Didn't dive in. I didn't feel the need to explain what their message did to me. Didn't feel the need to correct them. Didn't feel the need to justify. I didn't feel the need to do anything. I just said thank you and left it at that. And then later posted a response to communicating why that bothered me so much. So that was interesting to see in this cleanse. And I guess another learning lesson and the point of this cleanse is to recognize the things that come up in our bodies and the triggers we have and the things that visceral responses are your body's way of communicating to you that something is wrong. So it can be or not just wrong, but it's your body's way of communicating to you that something, because it doesn't necessarily have to be like based in fear, anger, and guilt. It could be something anchored in joy and love, right? That's also a visceral response that makes you feel great. This just happened to be a trigger based in fear, shame, and guilt. And that needed to come up so I could clear it out. Because fear, shame, and guilt holds us down and holds us back, right? It keeps us in low vibrational energies and keeps us in a place of not living limitations. It limits us in a lot of ways. So that's another reason why I did this water fast and why I'm doing this juice cleanse that I'm about to start, because that's what I'm transitioning into. Letting go of the past, letting go of all the shit, all the internal garbage from the past, the things that have been lingering in my cells my whole life, that were programmed into me, conditioned into me, that I absorbed from my environment and the people I was around, and getting into a new place of alignment with who I really am, what I really think, how I really feel, and how I really want to feel is in that place of love and joy and elation and prosperity, right? Wealth, health, wealth, and abundance. So that's a huge reason why I'm doing this cleanse. To cleanse my physical body, to align with the feelings and the energy I want to be matched up with for this transition. So that was my experience with this 3-day water fast. Those are some of the things that came up. That's what I did in that time to aid this release. And if you are interested in doing a water fast, I highly recommend doing it when you have space and time to yourself, free from obligations, free from appointments, free from work, where you can really just sit and be present to what is coming up for you. This has been a huge emotional purge for me, not just a physical purge. And I was purging myself in other ways while I was purging other areas, cleansing other areas of my life while I was doing this. So I'm preparing for a move, and I did a huge overhaul, went through all of my stuff and let go of a lot of things, a lot of material things that I had been holding on to for a long time. And when I say I did a complete life overhaul, I went Marie Kondo on this bitch. I went through everything. File drawer that had been like filled with papers from 10 years ago. I went through everything. I shredded that shit. I threw that shit away. I donated all that stuff, and I pared it down to the things that really, in the words of Marie Kondo, bring me joy. But I pared it down to the things that I really use, I really like, that are a reflection of who I am now, that I value and that matter to me. And I only kept those things that fit into that description. Everything else, I acknowledged it as I was going through my cleanse and or fast. I acknowledged it and reflected on that period of my life and who I was then, and recognized how much I had grown, how much I have grown in that period of time, and let it go. Let it go. So I highly recommend having a very low brain functioning activity to do while you do this water fast. And what I mean by low brain functioning, meaning it doesn't require a lot of thinking. It doesn't require a lot of problem solving or work, essentially. So doing yoga is great. You just got to breathe and be present to what you're feeling. Taking a bath is great. Clearing out and doing a major overhaul of all of your possessions is great, because it's not a very taxing activity to do. You don't have to think or prepare or create anything. That's what I want to say. You don't have to create something. You just sit with what you already have. You sit with it. Just like with the cleanse, the water fast, you're sitting with what's coming up. And pairing it with going through all of your material possessions, because our attachments to things are also held in our body. We hold that in our bodies, our attachment to our things, the sentimental value of that thing or the emotion behind that thing. And when we're bogged down by a lot of clutter or a lot of things in our physical space, those things affect us physically, mentally, emotionally, whether we acknowledge it or recognize it on a conscious level or not. It's affecting us and having an effect on us. So going through all of those possessions and reflecting back on our lives and reflecting back on who we were, or recognizing how much we've grown, going through that process was very cathartic and very much a release and a letting go, a physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, metaphorical, whatever, way of letting go of the past, because you're letting go of things that you've been holding on, like literally have been holding on to in your physical space, and maybe haven't used or thought about or looked at in a very long time. And you're letting it go and clearing space for new energy. That's the whole purpose. Like, that's like the mind, body, spirit connection of doing something like this. And so I very much appreciated and got more out of this experience by doing those other activities at the same time as this physical fast and now cleanse, because it gave me the opportunity to really clear everything out, to make space for this new energy that I want to invite into my life and start embodying on a daily basis. So I think I'm going to end there. I think I've said a lot about this water fast and my experience with it, and also giving some recommendations if you're interested in doing a water fast for yourself. So yeah, just to close on that point, if you are interested in doing this, yes, there are many physical health benefits associated with doing a water fast, and I'll share my experience with my juice cleanse in the next 5 days after I complete the juice cleanse. But there are many physical health benefits, but there are also so many other health benefits associated with doing a cleanse of any kind. Mental, emotional, spiritual, tangible, material, physical space. There are a lot of health benefits that are associated with it that we can receive from that experience that will ultimately lead to and contribute to our growth, our overall health and well-being, our prosperity, and our lives. So I hope you enjoyed listening to my long ramblings of this experience. I'll be, like I said before, I'll be sharing my experience with my juice cleanse in the next 5 days when I complete it. I'm sure more things will be coming up. And until I talk to you next time, namaste, healthy as fuck.